Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's the Tea with Gen X, Y, and Z. We are three generations, three perspectives, one cup of truth. So get ready because we're going to be brewing up a steaming hot take on today's most pressing issues, where we're going to dish on everything from social justice to pop culture with humor, honesty, and a little healthy debate. We're going to sip the tea, spill the honest truth, and find common ground across the generational gap. This show is guaranteed to stir the pot. So, hello everyone. I am Dr. Melissa, and I am representing your fabulous X generation.
And what's up, y'all? I'm Amber, holding it down for us Millennials.
I'm Zion, always keeping it real for Gen Z.
In a very cool, swaggy way. Always keeping it.
I prefer the word nonchalant.
I'm saying swaggy. I thought I was being like swaggy.
That's more of a millennial term. I feel like I still use it sometimes. It's a little outdated.
I am gonna say this though before we introduce and unpack the topic. Every time I say the fabulous X generation, you notice they both like chuckle and laugh, but when they're introducing themselves, the other doesn't laugh. I'm just saying. Every time I do this, they're like, yeah, it does feel a little bit like.
I don't think it's game. Maybe you do. Maybe you just do a little too much.
Just
extra. A little bit.
I am extra.
See, there you go. Perfect example.
Anyway, you guys, listen. Today I'm excited about what we're going to talk about because one of the things that we had sort of been rolling around in our minds, and just life in general, we've been talking about the whole concept of opportunities. And when I say opportunities, I'm talking about from some of the cliches that you hear. You'll hear people say opportunity of a lifetime, right? Mm-hmm. And then by contrast, you'll hear people talk about missed opportunities. Mm-hmm. And so we really want to sort of unpack today, what is that? What is this whole opportunity thing? And you might be saying, it's opportunity, but I'm going to suggest to you that it means something different to each generation, particularly when we talk about the whole concept of coming out of your comfort zone when you talk about opportunities. So let's get started. I'm excited about this one because I definitely have an extra perspective on this.
You want to go ahead and lead the way with your
No, I'm going to let you jump. I'm going to jump with the why.
Oh, not put me on Front Street. Oh, I don't like it. Okay.
So when we say opportunities, Amber, this whole concept about opportunities, whether or not they're opportunities of a lifetime, missed opportunities, from a why perspective, what does that look like for you guys?
So, for a lot of, millennials and, for a lot of my friends that are millennials, they are, I don't want to call them opportunists, but in a way they are opportunists. Yeah. So they don't go with situations unless it doesn't benefit them. Right. Which isn't a bad thing. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle because I've seized a lot of opportunities, like entrepreneurship, for example. I've done that. I've been the head honcho, had to get certain types of contracts, had to pay the clients, and well, not the clients, have to pay the employees, get the money from the clients. Like I've done all of that, had to have the bank account right. And I realized it just was not for me. But then I have peers that's like, oh, I don't know how you can work for these individuals. And I'm just like, because I did it. And I realized it just wasn't for me. So you have some millennials that sees the opportunities of wanting to be their own boss. And by all means, I love that. When you're able to have the opportunity to do it. Because you got some individuals that are not afforded the opportunity to even be able to go through the workings of owning their own business. You got some people that earn and want to do it, but it's just not something that they're able to do. So I'm very thankful that I was able to, embark on that opportunity to say it's something that I've done when having conversations like that. So, we're definitely opportunists for sure.
You brought a lot of good stuff to the table there. Ooh, I can't wait. Ooh.
All right,
What say you, Zion?
Zai. So for me, I feel like the word opportunity is a lot of times like undermined, like I guess the value of the word is undermined. Like I think people look at it closed-mindedly. I think they look at it strictly from a financial perspective or from a status perspective. It's like, what's an opportunity I can use to enhance my name or enhance my income?
Mm-hmm.
So I would kind of go on to you, like what you said, Amber, and I would say for Zers, we're definitely opportunists, for sure. But I think to the degree, I think a lot of times when you're an opportunist, you're looking at, is this a solidified conclusion? Is this a solidified like ending, like where it's like definitively it's like, okay, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
But if it's a little clouded, then it's like they might be more reluctant to actually like embark on that opportunity. I think for me personally, I think opportunity can look a little more practically. Like, are you going to go to college, not just for financial gain, but maybe to make more new experiences of living by yourself in a dorm for the first time?
Right.
Opportunity could be meeting people, meeting friends, future friends who are going to have your back later on. I think a lot of times people kind of undermine like what opportunity really is, and they look at it strictly from a financial perspective or from a status perspective. So it's just a lot more than that to me. So
yeah, you are absolutely right.
I am blown away by the use of the word opportunist, because I'll tell you from the ex perspective that has a negative connotation.
Yeah,
like you guys fully wrapped your arms around it. Hey, I'm an opportunist, and I'm like, I almost cringed. I'm like, ugh. Because from my generation, when you say an opportunist, it's a person who's willing to do whatever.
right, exactly.
Who take advantage, like get in where you fit in, by any means necessary. It's a person who's sort of sitting on the sidelines looking for a way to advance themselves,
Exactly.
So it's amazing that word, the connotation of that word has sort of shifted over the generations. But
I ain't gonna say shifted, but I definitely what you're saying. Keep going,
okay,
keep going.
so but here's what I'm gonna say with listening to both of you. Maybe the issue is not the opportunity as much as it is who is calling it an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. Is this a societal expectation? So is this opportunity, when you talked about entrepreneurship, where people have this expectation, you need to be your own boss. And if you're not your own boss, you're really not doing anything. Right. So here you are, you have this opportunity, but is it really your opportunity? Right.
Exactly.
Because I think the thing about it is it's not monolithic. Right. Opportunities are as individual as the individual.
Exactly.
They are different.
What's an opportunity for you is not an opportunity for me necessarily.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what I'm going to throw out because I think it's worth throwing out. When I think about opportunity from the perspective of whether or not you're willing to seize it or whether or not you're going to miss it, I always filter that through the lens of whether or not it's something you want to do or something that would advance your life or something that would be beneficial, but you make your decision about embracing it or missing it based on fear or discomfort. Like, I've got to do something that's uncomfortable for me to seize this opportunity. So I won't, because it's out of my box. It's out of my little world, right?
Yeah.
So for something like that, when I'm thinking about opportunities, I'll give you guys an example. Recently, I was in New York City. Y'all, I'm sorry.
Oh,
that was SIRI. I can't say the name. I said CITY, but SIRI was responding, you guys. We're not even going to edit that out, because if y'all living on this planet, y'all know that sometimes you will ask her a question and she act like she's deaf. And then other times you're talking to your dog and she's all up in the conversation. Anyway,
loud that time.
She was loud. Okay. Oh my goodness. I was in New York to attend a Broadway show, right? And I'm going to say, to be honest with you, not just attend, I was a major part of the Broadway show. So I was really there and really instrumental in helping that experience to come to life. And it was awesome. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It was an opportunity that I had never had before that was presented. It was an opportunity that was not on my bucket list. It was not something that I had written down that I wanted to do, was to be a Broadway executive producer. None of that. That wasn't written on the list. But when the opportunity came, what I'm going to tell you is it lined up
Mhm.
with my purpose. It lined up with my values. It lined up with my mission. It synergized with who I am and what I want to put out in the world. Right? So here it was. This is an opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. I just told you I went to the NY. My seat is country. I'm from the country.
Yeah.
I like being from the country, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to you. See how I said, y'all? I like being from the country. Bah, bah, bah. When we honk in the country, we're saying hello.
Mhm.
Beep beep, hey. But honk, we don't do that.
Yeah, our
right?
horns are very rarely used.
Very rarely used. So I throw that out there just to give you an analogy of being willing to come out of what makes you feel safe and okay and comfortable, and what plays to your, your fears, being willing to come beyond that to
Yeah.
experience something different.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say also too, like, in my younger years, don't get me wrong, if an opportunity presented itself, I was like, yeah, I'm young, I can do it. I got a lot of life to live, right? But now that I'm older, I have more responsibilities and I have children to account for. So the things that I used to probably could do at 18, 19, or 20, as almost the, women don't tell their age, but I'm still fairly young. I can't do the things that I would have done, at those ages. So a lot of opportunities that do come my ways, now I have a different outlook on it. I have to think about, care for my children. Fiscally, am I able to do it? With having a career, I'm not just, at a something that I went to school for. I'm actually in the occupation that I wanted to do when I was, going to school, saying, yeah, this is what I want to be. Now I'm in that occupation. So I have to make arrangements there. Like, especially when you're in leadership, it's not like you can just, go. You have to put things in place so you're able to go. So it's not as easy, as it used to be, when you really didn't have responsibilities or things that depended on you being present of where you are. So, yeah. When we talk about opportunities, kind of where we are now, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, you made a good point too. A lot of times, like, opportunity can change based on responsibilities. A lot of that stuff is like circumstantial, and that could be a barrier, like, I guess to embark on that opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back a little bit because it was stuck on my mind, but we just talking about being an opportunist and all that. Because I do feel like a lot of times, like, collectively, people look at that as this, I guess, someone linking up for rapper or hopping on a consonant stream, and a lot of times, like you said, it could just be exactly, because you're like I was mentioning earlier, you're looking for that definitive outcome, like, oh, if I go here, I'm for sure going to
get in.
rather than kind of going in a little blind. I think it's a lot more simpler. Just like even what you're saying, traveling, that's an opportunity. Like, people who are starting a business, who probably haven't gotten to the point they want to be, that's an opportunity, because a lot of people can't afford those resources to even start to initiate that process. So it's just like, it's important not to just undermine that, what an opportunity actually is. So
a lot of times, so what I'm hearing you say, it's a similar conversation, but when you talk about what we call the people that's on the come up, right? They say they only come up. They come into a room and they determine who they're going to speak to based on who they think got the power.
Yeah. So it's still that similar definition. I feel like it's used wrong. So when I say opportunist, I don't mean it like how how society views the opportunist, like in that negative connotation. It's used wrong.
So what it's amazing that he says used wrong. It's evolved. Yeah. Why the way we use it was wrong. So yeah, it's evolved. It's evolved. That's what I would say. I think we needed a word to define people who made decisions only based on outcomes. Yeah. So here's what I'm gonna say about opportunity. If your lens for opportunity is only based on a guaranteed outcome, Like, I think that's problematic because I think it's really sort of like, to be honest with you, when you have people that in our old way of saying opportunists, they don't want to go through the process.
Right, exactly.
Like, they don't want to go through what it takes to get there. Yep. They want the microwave, moment, and then poof, they're there, and I'm popping and I'm on and all of that. Where honestly, if you look at even a lot of the people that we look at in the different industries, there's a whole backstory. Yes. Like people sold everything they had and maybe moved to New York and slept on the floor, moved to LA and waited tables. Or like, there's a whole backstory. Like, you see them now, they're out, they're popping, but in order to walk in that opportunity, they were willing to do what they needed to do.
Right.
So when we say opportunists, we're talking about people that's trying to subvert the process, exactly. Right? Now, I will say this, even to the point you were making about having to filter that with life responsibilities, right? And I will agree. I think at this stage and age in my life, I'm able to seize opportunities in a different way because I'm at this stage in life where I've raised my children. Exactly. And I do not have those, day-to-day, I'm not PTA. Okay. Amen. Woo.
They've gotten better.
Yeah, amen. I did it. Listen, I did it.
They're a little more robust.
It's fine, but there's some other things I'd rather do rather than the PTA at this age and stage. I paid my debts, okay?
You did.
But I'm able to seize them differently. Right. But I will say too, not just for you, but for our listeners, when there are opportunities that are presented, especially when they line up with your core purpose,
right.
They don't always have to look the way that you think.
Right.
Like where I gotta, sell the house, pack up the kids, and get in the Volkswagen and drive across country. There are still ways to take advantage of opportunities in different ways.
Right.
Right. And is there something to be said about that?
Right. And I think there definitely is. You made a great point of taking an opportunity based upon whatever aligns with your core purpose. I love that. A lot of times, and I feel like from Generation Z, I'm not gonna say all of us. It's not objective, but a good amount of us are willing to compromise our integrity, compromise our principles to receive some traction, to receive some engagement, just to get that status. And then it's like, okay, now I'm gonna get into whatever is gonna give me status. And it's like, I don't think that's the appropriate way to do that.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said earlier, that's why I called Millennials Opportunists. Yeah. And even far beyond that, I can really say Millennials really do bet on themselves. A lot of Millennials are entrepreneurs, and it's a lot of them that are definitely successful. But we tend to want to put ourselves in those positions where, we can, take care of the family. But again, at the center of it is, us, is the me.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus everybody else. So it's not a bad thing being an opportunist or, wanting to make sure, you yourself as an individual is successful. Is just making sure that, whatever opportunity that you seize, it aligns with your purpose.
Right.
And it makes sense, for you.
Exactly.
Everything is not going to make sense to the next person. That's why I said, for me, entrepreneurship was not for me.
But that was growth. The thing about it is that it's growth to know. I mean,
that it wasn't for me.
In all things, know yourself and don't subscribe to these expectations and these labels that are put out there that this is what everybody should do. Because I'm telling you, at this age and stage, I know people who have spent 30 years of their lives going for an opportunity and then get at this stage. I coach a lot of them and they say, this was never what I really wanted to do.
Exactly.
I've spent my life and I've built all of this and it's not even connected to me. Exactly. So I seized an opportunity that someone else said is an opportunity. Hey, here's a great opportunity. It might have been great for them, but I jumped on something. So listen, you guys, we're going to take a quick break. This is good, juicy stuff. When we come back though, I want us to unpack some of the reasons why we seize or miss opportunities. And I want to talk about the C word, comfort, convenience, all of those things. All right. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Catch the wave of success with Standing on Business with Dr. Melissa. Unlock your purpose, align it with your entrepreneurial spirit, and witness your business thrive. This isn't just about authenticity, it's about building a foundation so solid, your business becomes synonymous with profitability. Tune in as we delve into marketing strategies that work and create an empire that stands on business. Because when purpose meets strategy, success is inevitable. Standing on Business with Dr. Melissa, where authenticity meets profitability.
All right, welcome back to What's the Tea with Gen X, Y, and Z. So before the break, we've been really delving into this whole concept of opportunity. Like, what is an opportunity from the generational perspective? How do we view it? They threw out the word opportunist. I wasn't prepared for that, but that was like good stuff. Honestly, I was today years old. Have y'all heard that before? People say I was today years old when I found out that the word opportunist was not seen as a negative with the different generations. Like, I would die before I called myself an opportunist. Like, opportunist. And if somebody else called me that, it might be no.
It depends.
Yeah. So
depends on how it's used.
Well, it's amazing.
Exactly.
I didn't know that there was another use. In my mind, it was opportunist, and there was no positive way of saying that. But I teased before the break that we were going to talk about the comfort zone. And you guys, that's a conversation to be had. So let's talk about opportunities and what we do with them and how much of our decisions have to do with the comfort zone. Let's say you, Z.
I was hoping I wasn't going first. Okay. The reason I was hoping I wasn't going first is because I wanted y'all to say something and then I was going to go off y'all. Okay,
you want us to say something first?
I did.
Do you want us to still?
Yeah, I do.
It's your world.
I do.
We're just living in it.
We're just living in it. So we will acquiesce to let Z go last because he's going.
I don't got to go last. I just don't want to go first.
Yeah, he's going to build on that. I'm telling you, he's going to build on it. I already know what he's going to do, and it would be better for us to make him go first so that we could unravel him. But that's okay. We'll do that.
He just want to unravel us.
Yes, Amber. What say you about the comfort zone?
Well, I'm just gonna speak from my own personal stance as I do best. So, like opportunities where people say that expanding in their education, for instance. So, I do currently hold a master's degree, and everybody always asks me, "Are you gonna go for the doctorate?" And I'm like, "I'm terrified." And I say I'm terrified because of the dissertation part. I've always had a fear of having to stand in front of individuals. I'm not even sure if this is what you have to do, and have to recite and defend my research. I'm not even the biggest researcher. I just don't like it. So I'm like, I think I'm comfortable with just my master's degree. See, yes, exactly. Comfortable with just my master's degree. But the world is evolving, and education is evolving, and certain career paths that you want to go on, you got to have, certain credentials. Not saying that I have to, but if I'm a person that like to challenge myself, then why just settle for a master's degree and I could get a doctorate? But, that's just my own personal stance of comfortability and just wanting to stay at a level where I know I can progress. But,
Isn't she lucky that she's sitting beside the Purpose Prophetess? Isn't she lucky that she's sitting beside the world-renowned success coach, therapist turned coach? Isn't she lucky, y'all? And isn't she lucky that I'm not going to charge her for what I'm about to do?
Amen.
I'm going to coach you for like 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Getting your doctorate degree.
Oh, you heard that. My bad.
Why do you want your doctorate degree?
See, that's the part. I don't know why.
Okay. So here's the thing.
I just know I'm supposed to get it because I've done everything else.
Supposed to, according to who?
Exactly. See?
Amen.
So that means I can just stay at the right.
Amen. Listen, if your why, and this is for everybody. Oh, y'all, he just. For those of you that can't see, I gotta say this for the podcast viewers. Like, he's up here with his fingers, like counting how many seconds, right? He's just so wrong. Anyway, here's what I'm gonna say, and this is for everybody.
Yeah.
Attached to your why. So a lot of times we're talking about opportunities, but let me tell you, the biggest letter in that opportunity word is the N, and that's the why. The end of that word is why. Why? And when you can't stand flat-footed on the why, then maybe it's not your opportunity, and maybe there's some external validation or somebody saying you should have,
Mhm.
or so I would say with my doctorate, and yes, all of those things you say, you do have to defend and all that. Is it doable? Absolutely.
Yeah, I ain't saying it's
Country
not
girl
doable.
from the dirt road can do it. Anybody can do it. But what I'm saying is my why had nothing to do with the external.
Right.
My why was very internal.
Mm.
It was, this is what I was supposed to do. And
Yeah.
I started my doctorate not knowing that in my career, I was an entrepreneur, I was a CEO. I didn't need it. Right. So it wasn't going to help me advance to do anything.
Yeah.
But there was an internal calling for me to do that. So I'm going to tell you to sit with that why for a little while. And when your why is big enough, the how doesn't matter.
Mm.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that
That's
might
it.
be, and that is why I didn't go for the doctorate. That is why I double mastered, because I do know what my why is getting another master's degree. I know it's helping people. You know, I talk to people and just random people off the side of the street, and sometimes I don't even know why. And we hold full conversations. And they're like, oh, you really helped me. And I'm just like, oh,
What's your
well,
purpose?
maybe I'm supposed to be helping people. So
Yeah.
I didn't know my why for the doctorate, but I do know my why for the double master's.
Know your why, people.
Amen.
If you know the why, if the why is big enough, the how doesn't matter.
Yes.
Z, did we take enough time to give you a chance to figure out? That's, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first thing I want to say, and I didn't say 10 seconds, y'all, so that's not applicable here. But I did want to start off by saying, man, that you said a mouthful. You know, that was inspiring, good piece. You know, you got to have that personal conviction. So that resonated with me. Now, another thing I'm gonna say is I don't think comfort has evolved. I think comfort is subjective. So, and a lot of that is derived from personality and your own personal convictions. You know, some people have extroverted personalities, some people have introverted personalities, and a lot of times their actions, like they'll be distinguished based on their personality or whatever their personal convictions are. I'm gonna say this from a generational stance. From a Z perspective, a lot of times I feel like most Z's we struggle probably with like general and social anxiety, right? So then when you have this societal pressure that y'all both mentioned, and a lot of times people who are blowing up, people who are seizing opportunities, because that's the definitive way of kind of blowing up by taking that opportunity. A lot of that revolves around streaming, it revolves around content creation, it revolves around live streaming, where you have to put yourself in a space where you have a million eyes on you. If you get to that point, and a lot of times I think there's this duality where it's like, I struggle with this, so am I willing to compromise my comfort to adhere to this societal expectation to blow up, pretty much, to receive traction? So like, I just wanted to talk about that and that duality. So I think it's important not to compromise whatever it is you want to do. Now, I think there are people who, like, you could have an introverted personality but be called to do something with eyes on you. But for those who know that's not their calling, there is a lot of societal pressure where you don't have to do that. You don't have to abide by this societal expectation being the sole way to blow up. So
Right. So what we're talking about, what I hear you saying, we're talking about authenticity.
Yep.
We really are. And we're talking about what price are you willing to set on your soul?
Mm-hmm.
People sell their souls all the time. And what that simply means, it's not even all that diabolical. It means I'm willing to be something other than myself to get an outcome or an external validation. And what I've done is torn away pieces of who I am, right? And when you do that, you get to this situation where you look in the mirror one day and you're like, and listen, you guys, it's not even, it's done for noble reasons. It's not always done just to blow up or be on the come up. For Xers, do you know how many Xers got to a point in their life where they looked in the mirror and said, who am I and what am I doing? Because they made decisions early on based on roles that they had in life, being a mother, being a wife, being a daughter, being a whatever, and I have to make these concessions, right? Mm-hmm. I have to do these things so I can be this person. Same thing. The reason may be different. Okay, I'm not trying to blow up and have a million eyes on me, but I am trying to make sure people are pleased with me. And I am trying to make sure people are satisfied with me and that people like me. And so I make all of these concessions, compromises, And then one day I look in the mirror and I say, I don't recognize this person because I have negotiated away my authenticity. I paid the price for whatever it is. Sometimes it's the big house on the hill and the C-suite job and all of that. And people are going like, how could you possibly not be happy? Well, because it's not my calling, right? It was what I needed to do, boxes I needed to check, right? I remember when I did my TED Talk, I talked about checking the boxes, being a box checker. Yeah, you do that. And then you get to the end of that and you go, like, that's not even what I wanted to do. So you could be the person, the house on the hill, or you could be the person under the bridge. Believe it or not, a cage is a cage, is a cage, is a cage. Whether it's gold, made out of gold, or made out of paper, a cage is a cage. So to your point, when you're talking about the authenticity, here's what I want to say about the comfort zone and opportunities, you guys. Life is full of them. Every opportunity is not your opportunity. You know, the old folks used to say, all money ain't good money, right? All money. So we always going to make $1,000. Okay, but all money ain't good money. So here's what I hope you take away from our discussion today is that, first of all, define what an opportunity is for you.
Yeah.
Does it align with who you are, right? And here's my litmus test. If an opportunity presents itself, your decision as to whether to embrace it or to seize it, if it's rooted in the F word at all, fear, I'm going to tell you to stop, drop, and roll. Like, stop. Don't say no to that opportunity if you know that your no is steeped in fear. Because that might really be your opportunity, right? If it's not yours, cool. Plenty of opportunities come my way as a businesswoman. Plenty of proposals and contracts that I go, nope. Doesn't line up with my wheelhouse. It's not a part of my mission. I don't care how many zeros and commas. That doesn't line up. That's okay. But when you get presented with an opportunity that it hits you right here, and your reasons for not doing it is, what if I fail? What if I don't fit in? What if it doesn't work? I'm nervous. I'm scared. Like any of those kind of things. I want you just to sit with it for a minute. And here's what I'm going to tell you. On the other side of your yes, oftentimes, is your next. Very little growth happens in the comfort zone. And to Zion's point, and when I'm saying comfort zone, I'm defining it as that place of familiarity where you know that you're playing small.
Yep.
You know that you're there because you feel comfortable and the people know you and it's familiar and you don't have to stretch yourself.
Right.
The comfort zone that I'm talking about that you need to really look at is that place where you already know. Now, you could be doing this, but you say, here I'm a king. Is the big fish in the little pond. So that is what I want you to take away from today. Are you missing opportunities? Are you seizing opportunities of a lifetime? And what I'm going to say to you is, my mentor says this: conviction and convenience do not live on the same block. Make a decision. You want to be great? Greatness is on the other side of the comfort zone most of the time. So thank you so much for joining us for this important conversation. And here's the thing. I want you guys to keep this conversation brewing. We've got to ask questions. We've got to listen to understand. And we've got to acknowledge the unique challenges and definitions that each generation has and faces. And as always, let's look for the common ground because trust me, it's there. So until next time, keep sipping and keep talking. Tune in next week for another thought-provoking and hilarious conversation that bridges the generational gap, one cup at a time. Take care.